When we think about chemsex, I think more often we think about this hopeless state of constant relapse and pain, and perhaps even overdose and the catastrophic results that can occur with that. There are many success stories, and I think it's really important to highlight those. In the years I've worked with chemsex clients, there are many, countless success stories I can think of, but two come to mind that I think are that exemplify some of the process. One is someone who, a friend of mine actually, not a client, who had a long career of methamphetamine use and other drugs, who ultimately became a dealer, a big dealer, in order to satisfy his own habit, who ultimately was arrested, spent 5 years in a federal prison here in the United States, and actually attributes his time in confinement to being able to stay sober because he was effectively removed from the drug and the temptation to use it. But when he came out, rebuilding his life, going back to graduate school, overcoming the stigma that goes with that state, really getting a job in the field, as many of us do in our own recovery. We pivot into this work ourselves. And in that way, one person at a time, through sponsorship and then through more formal training, becoming the executive director of a detoxification center over a few years, of course. But it was an incredibly powerful example of how we can take these experiences in our lives, the pain that we cause ourselves and others, the harm, the setbacks, the years that we lose, and really do something with that. We can take that internal experience and turn it outward and turn it into something useful, not only for ourselves to keep us sober on an ongoing basis, but to help other people as well to find their way. Such a powerful example. A second example I want to mention is something that really counteracts this idea that if I'm in recovery, I basically am going to forego any idea of sexual pleasure and satisfying sex, and especially if I get into kind of fetish play or kinky behavior. And it's true that very often those fetishes become very much a part of our experience that's associated with getting high and getting really high. And it's very difficult to think or consider about engaging or indulging in those fetishes in sobriety, because as soon as we do that, we start to think about all the ways that we could use drugs in that state. I have now found in my community and elsewhere, when I travel in the United States, I encounter folks that are able now to, and this is several years into recovery with years of sobriety, they're able to start to re-engage in their fetish play and their kinky behavior in a way that's very satisfying to them and that does not trigger their use for drugs. The other thing I would say about that is that the secret, if there is one to that, is time, right? Recovery, understanding where our triggers are, knowing what to do if we do get triggered, but also to engage in that fetish play or kinky behavior with other sober folks. So these are guys that play with other people where there's no drugs involved, where they can engage in that play and it no longer triggers them to use the drug, but they can enjoy a full sexual life without the use of drugs. I think that's a really powerful message to convey. That's possible, and people are doing it.